Welcome to the Two Blokes Chatting radio show on 94.7 The Pulse. Music, interviews, news, and, well, Two Blokes Chatting. Now, here are the two blokes.
I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man. Across the deserts bare, man. I've breathed the mountain air, man. I've travelled, I've had my share, man. I've been everywhere. Been to Tullamore, Seymour, Lismore, Mooloolaba, Nambour, Roochdore, Kilmore, Marillaba, Birdsville, Emmaville, Wallaville, Connemara, Connemara, Strathround, Proserpine, Alladala, Darwin, Gingin, Lilliquin, Muckdilla, Wallumbilla, Bougainville, Cumberland, Ramakiller. I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man. Across the deserts.
One day we are going to crack it. We're going to find someone whose town name is named in that song. But we are heading off to Marong this morning on Regional Roundup, and we welcome Charlie Aves. G'day, Charlie. Oh, hang on. I'll try that again. I didn't have you turned on. Try again. Hello, Charlie.
Hey, how are you?
Going very well indeed. Well, the first question that we have to deal with is when I came in this morning and said to Rob, we're talking to Charlie at Marong, his first question was, where's Marong? Help us out.
No, it wasn't. My first question was, does Charlie play footy?
Yes, we had to point out the fact that Charlie was in fact a her, not a him. That was the other thing we had to do.
Well, Marong is about 25 k's out of Bendigo, west of Bendigo. Most people know it if they're heading north, because we're on that bit of the alternative Calder Highway if you're wanting to duck around and avoid driving through the centre of Bendigo.
So the next town up the road is Bridgewater, then Inglewood, then Wedderburn, Charlton, I would have said.
It would have been, yes.
Yes, that's a road I travelled a long time along the way. But I'm tipping, because I'm perceptive like this, you weren't born in Marong.
No, I was not born in Marong. I was born in Chertsey, so West London.
Okay, so here you are, a number of years later, let's just run with that, and you find yourself living in regional Victoria and heading up what can only be described as a very agricultural-focused organisation. Yeah,
so I'm the Executive Officer for the Irrigated Cropping Council. So we're a farming systems group that delivers research and development and extension activities across northern Victoria and southern New South Wales.
So, Charlie, I'm going to put the tin lid on and be very careful and chuck in the obvious question. Are your farming group concerned and doing stuff about climate change?
Indirectly, yes. We don't have any projects listed as climate change, but we work very hard in terms of making sure that we make the absolute most out of every single drop of water that we use. And we're really working with farmers to build, and it's a word that completely divides people, but resilient farming systems, so that people are sustainable into the long term.
There's been some really marvellous steps forward in almond and cotton growing around the use of water, which is sort of cutting edge that's started here in Australia. So your group constantly looking at new ways to do exactly what you're achieving, and that's making that most out of every drop.
That's it, yeah. We work mainly with grain, so irrigated grain and mixed farming, which really is that sector that flexes. So, and it operates between anything, between completely dry land and fully irrigated, and really does provide that, I guess, flex in that water market. But also, is a hugely productive, and yeah.
Down in our neck of the woods, the winters have changed. We used to get quite wet winters down here in the south, which meant growing grain crops was just not possible. It was all sheep and cattle stuff. But since probably about 1994-5, there has been a change, and now it's predominantly we're growing grains, canola beans, all the cereals, and the sheep and cattle numbers have diminished quite a lot. Up in that neck of the woods, I guess your summers are a little bit hotter and longer, which adds, of course, to the fact that you've got maybe less water to work with and more evaporation adding to the problem.
Absolutely. It's very variable. Most of our growers have a winter focus, so a focus on those winter grains. But we do work with a number of guys that are growing crops like maize and sorghum, either for fodder or for human consumption and animal consumption. So, there's no such thing as a normal year in farming, and that's absolutely true in irrigation farming as well. We tend to hit drought, I guess, a year or two later than everyone else, but we're still equally impacted. And it plays a major role in what's affordable and doable in terms of when it's dry, water prices up through the roof. So you really have to question the value of adding every single drop of water.
So a lot of people who are listening to us are in the southern part of the state of Victoria. So if they were imagining where they might find irrigated crops in Victoria and the area that you basically work on, what part of the world are they looking in?
Along the Goulburn there, so right down towards Shepparton, along the Murray. And so our membership spreads from about Albury to Swan Hill and then drops off towards Mildura. We go up as far as the Murrumbidgee, so that's Griffith. We've got members up there. A reasonably diverse farming systems and farming regions. Predominantly pulling out of the Murray.
Okay, sorry, I've got to just mention to Rob, for some reason we're getting music if I turn your system on, so I'm not sure what's going on there, but that's okay. Because obviously, there are towns up there that are wholly dependent upon the irrigated crops to survive, and I would have thought that the work that you guys are doing to make sure that that's the case is just like virtually critical to their existence. Is that true?
I'd like to think so. We work very closely with the farming community and are really there to help them make really good and informed decisions. So providing them with as much good quality, independent information to make decisions for their farming systems to be profitable and sustainable. So, we play an important role and work very closely, not just with farmers, but with research organisations and universities and commercial companies and whoever we can to just make sure that decisions are being made that are the best for each and every individual farming business.
Yeah, because, you would drive a lot around that area. You'd see towns that are just disappearing. Is that fair?
It is. It's funny. The challenges sort of in this COVID world are changing. So house prices are going up in all of those towns, but actually the number of people living them are going down. We're seeing a lot of, people purchasing from outside, so they've got those rural postcodes. So it's really, really changing the dynamics of some of those towns in this COVID world.
Yeah, because I think we're still finding that Rob is coming through with music for some reason. It doesn't matter. We'll get rid of him. I think I know what his problem is.
I'm chatting to one bloke.
I think you've got studio. You haven't got Studio 2 logged on. You've got the outside thing going on. That's I think what's causing the grief. And so we're getting music from outside. Sorry to be being very rude to you, but we're trying to get him to do the same thing at the same time. So the future of irrigation in northern Victoria and other parts of Australia, I guess we're seeing it develop all the way, but it's going to be part of our lives for the foreseeable future.
It sure is, yeah. It's a very critical part of the whole farming system right across Australia.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make much in terms of land value, but it does add a phenomenal amount of food into our food system. So it's it can't be underestimated.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we take our hat off to you for the work you are doing. I think we need to take it out to Melinda, who's having a listen as well. And we should also...
refusing to talk to you still, I'm guessing.
And absolutely. And if you're if people are coming through Marong, what can they expect to find?
It's a very small town, but it punches above its weight. We've got a pretty good pub here. The footy club does reasonably well, which is, I guess, why you were asking if I play footy, but
Yep.
I don't. We've got a nice little outdoor pool area, which is great for the kids in summer. The takeaway is pretty good and actually phenomenally busy, so you've got to get in there quick on a Friday night, otherwise you're going to have a long wait.
Or a drive into Bendigo, one or the other.
And as I say, we are only 25 minutes out of Bendigo, so it's really convenient for all those big town services while having that, the luxury of living in a small town.
Well, Rob is waving to you because we can't actually put him to air because as soon as I do, a whole stack of music comes through instead of Rob. So I don't know what's going on with the buttons that we're pressing here. Thanks for joining us. I'm sorry we were interrupted by my inability to work the desk today, and hope to chat to you soon.
No worries, Neil. Catch you later. And Rob.
Yeah, he's waving. Charlie Aves there from Marong in northern Victoria.